Twilight was falling over Ravenna when Honoria stepped to the window of her gilded prison. The imperial palace was majestic, but to her, it was nothing more than a cage. For years, her brother, Emperor Valentinian III, had kept her under strict control, fearing her ambitions. Now he had decided to marry her off to an old senator, a man she despised. She would not allow others to decide her fate. In the darkness of the night, she made a reckless decision. She sent a messenger to Attila, king of the Huns, carrying a ring and a few words scribbled on a fragment of parchment. Was it a plea for help or a marriage proposal? The truth was lost in the shadows of intention. In his tent, surrounded by the smoke of braziers, Attila studied the jewel. He turned it between his fingers, his gaze fixed on the small embedded gem. To him, it was more than just a token. It was an offer, and an offer required a dowry. He smiled in satisfaction. If the Empress of Rome wanted him as a husband, then Rome would have to pay an appropriate price, half of the Western Empire. The messenger returned to Ravenna with Attila's response. When Valentinian III read his words, his blood ran cold. His sister had just given the scourge of God the perfect excuse for war. Honoria was immediately confined and her servant was executed. But the die had been cast. The earth trembled beneath. The hooves of Hun horses. Attila advanced with his army, ravaging Gaul and setting Roman cities ablaze. His wrath knew no bounds. In 451 AD, at Chalons, the Romans and their Visigoth allies confronted him in one of the bloodiest battles in history. Yet Attila did not break. He withdrew only to prepare for the final blow, the march on Rome. The gates of the Eternal City seemed ready to fall. But when Attila found himself face to face with an old man in simple robes, he halted his soldiers. Pope Leovite, with an unwavering gaze and words no one dared to challenge, convinced the king of the Huns to spare the city. What was said between them remains a mystery, but that night, Attila renounced his greatest victory. A year later, death claimed him suddenly in his tent on the night of his wedding to a young Germanic princess. Some said it was an internal hemorrhage. Others whispered of assassination, and Honoria, the woman who had sparked Attila's fury, was spared her brother's wrath, but condemned to a life of isolation. Her name was forgotten, but her actions changed the fate of an empire forever. Love, or mere pretext? Honoria wanted freedom, Attila wanted an empire, but in this tale of ambition and power, a simple ring was enough to shake the world.